Hey, it's Candice Quinn with Contract Hack. So are you thinking about working in corporate law, or maybe you just got assigned to that practice group in your law firm and you're wondering, what did I sign up for? What am I gonna do all day? So today I'm gonna break down what corporate attorneys actually do, not what you see them do on TV, the real version. This is the stuff you need to know so you don't embarrass yourself. First, you better love documents because you are going to live in them, whether it is sales contracts, whether it is procurement, vendor contracts, or whether it's just corporate documents and M&A documents. You are going to live in documents. You better like to read. You better like to synthesize those documents quickly and efficiently, or you are not going to last long as a corporate attorney. Now, let's be clear. Your job is not to write these from scratch. In fact, you will rarely ever write a document from scratch. You will maybe add some paragraphs to some documents. What you're mostly going to be doing is working from templates and reviewing red lines from other parties. You're also going to be negotiating with those other parties to get the changes that you want, or to convince them they don't need the changes they think they do. The skill that no one teaches you is you need to read contracts fast. Like, you need to identify what paragraphs require like word by word review and which ones you can basically skim and get the gist of and just look for red flags in. If you have a 40-page document, you are probably going to need to issue spot that document in 30 minutes or less and be able to provide substantive commentary to those red lines. What are you going to be looking for? Payment terms, liability caps and indemnification, term and termination rights, intellectual property ownership and rights related to intellectual property, confidentiality obligations, and dispute resolution. Now, my hack is that I always have a playbook of my standard positions and my fallback provisions so that I can copy and paste as necessary. And whenever I find a new paragraph or a new provision that I like, I am going to go ahead and add it to my playbook. So I regularly pull provisions from vendors' contracts, from other customers' red lines, things that I like that I could use in the future. This way, I am not reinventing the wheel. I am simply using what has already been used in the past to help a future deal. Number two, you are going to be the deal quarterback. Anything that the company is thinking of doing, whether it's an exit like an IPO or a merger, if they're doing any type of acquisition of another brand, you are going to be involved in that to some level, especially if you're on a smaller team. But what does this actually mean? This means you're going to be doing a lot of due diligence. You are going to be reading a lot of documents, organizing a lot of contracts, and getting them either ready for the other party to complete the due diligence on, or doing the due diligence yourself. And it just depends on what the actual transaction of the deal is, on which side you will be on. So you're going to be looking at corporate documents like structure and governance. You're going to be looking at top customer contracts. You're going to be looking at critical vendor contracts. You might also be looking at the IP portfolio, perhaps critical employee agreements as well, and lots of things related to regulatory compliance, such as certifications or licenses, things like that. Throughout this process, you're going to be building a checklist, requesting documents, reviewing them, and flagging issues for the business team. You'll also be reviewing the actual transaction documents, probably in conjunction with outside counsel, but this is things like asset purchase agreement or stock purchase agreements. Perhaps it's a merger agreement or an investment agreement. You're also going to be looking at disclosure schedules and potentially looking at key employment agreements or drafting and revising those. Now, the key is you're not the lead attorney on this. You are the in-house person that is quarterbacking it inside of the company. There's going to be outside counsel managing this from the outside, and you're really kind of managing them, manage the deal, and really helping gather the information that they need from inside the company. You are their main point of contact and get them what they need. This is a true project management position. You're going to be tracking 47 open items across 6 different teams and setting deadlines and following up on them and making sure everything is staying in motion. If you're not organized, you're going to drown. So number 3 is corporate governance, or also known as the compliance cost. Somebody has to make sure that the corporation doesn't actually, drown itself, and you're the one who's going to do that. So you're going to stay on top of all of the filings that need to happen, make sure they happen timely, make sure they're accurate, and just take care of the preventative medicine of the corporation, as I like to call it. So things like board and shareholder meetings, you're going to be preparing reviewing and doing all the documents for those, things like board minutes and resolutions, these are all going to fall into a corporate attorney's camp. You're also going to do the things like filing annual reports, registering in new states, opening licenses, closing licenses. All of this kind of just paperwork moving about is going to fall with you. You're also probably going to handle equity management. So whether that is for a private company or a public company, you're going to be handling like stock options or shares or RSUs. You're going to be handling that and doing agreements related to that. This can include like 409A valuations if you're at a startup. It can include the actual SEC filings if you're at a public company, but that's all going to fall into a corporate attorney's bucket. This is the part everyone hates because it's just really detail oriented and tedious and doesn't have a lot of like measurable ways to show success. It's just hard and honestly kind of boring. But if you mess it up, it's going to have a huge impact on the company, which is not going to be good. So my hack here is to create systems, have checklists, have multiple calendars that you can add these tasks to so that you don't just have one calendar, you also have a backup calendar. And if you do have an admin and you're lucky enough to have an admin, also have them independently calendar these things as well, because these deadlines are important and you don't want to miss them. Fourth, you're going to be advising the business a lot. You are their internal consultants on anything, even quasi-legal, so they're going to be coming to you for everything they need help with. You will get questions about terminating employees, customer sales agreements, marketing materials, type of entity to set up for a specific subsidiary or affiliate, and resolutions with both vendors, customers, etc. Like, you are going to be the go-to person for anything. Can we do this? How can we do this? Tell us how we can do this. This is what you're going to hear from the business day in and day out. What skill do you really need here? Business judgment. Because what you learned in law school, this like black or white, that doesn't exist in business. It's just all shades of gray. So you need to figure out what the risk tolerance is, what the goal is for the company, and then figure out a solution that will allow the company to proceed with what they want to do in a way that they stay in their preferred shade of gray. So what is really hard about this is that you actually need to understand what the company's shade of gray is, right? What is their goal? What is their risk tolerance? And how can you meet their goals within their risk tolerance and within the laws? Number 5, cross-functional collaboration. You are going to work with everyone in the company. And I'm not even kidding. Like, you are going to work with sales and marketing and HR and product and engineering and security. You are going to touch all facets of the business because all of these people are going to have some type of question about their position, their role, and what their goal is for their role that has a legal component to it. So they're going to be coming to you, if the company is well organized and respects legal, that is, they're going to be coming to you with lots of questions. Finance is going to come about deal structure and payment terms. HR is going to come about employment agreements and equity agreements. Sales is coming on customer contracts, of course, right? That's what they come for. Product is going to come on vendor agreements, IP agreements. Compliance is going to come with regulatory and risk management questions. And the executive team is going to come with like strategic business questions. And they're going to need to know how they can complete their strategic goal within the bounds of the law. The skill that's going to separate you from a regular attorney to being a good attorney is communication. You need to be able to translate legal concepts into terms that everyone can understand, no matter what their position is or what their level of education is. Not everyone that you talk to is going to understand things like indemnification or even warranties or even intellectual property. And so you need to be able to explain things in a way that any level of employee can understand. You also need to be able to determine when you need to escalate something versus when you can just handle it yourself. And this will be different in every company, so it really is a gut feel, but it also depends on your comfort level with certain specific issues. So there's a lot of factors here, and being able to have that judgment is really, really valuable because it saves a lot of time when you can synthesize out what you can handle versus what needs to be escalated. So the bottom line here is corporate law is 40% contract review, 20% deal support and due diligence, 20% corporate governance and maintenance, and 20% business advising and problem solving. It's fast-paced, deadline driven, and you are always juggling multiple priorities. The skills that matter are document review speed and accuracy, project management, attention to detail, business judgment, clear communication, and template building and organization. It's not glamorous, but if you like being in the middle of how a company runs and really getting to know one company very, very well, then you will really enjoy this role. It's pretty satisfying and it really does help you learn and grow. There's always something new that you're coming across, and no 2 days are ever the same. So that is why I love being a corporate attorney, but let me hear from you. If you are a corporate attorney, is there anything I missed that you regularly do? And what do you love the most about being a corporate attorney? If you're considering making a move and going in-house, download my free lateral move decision matrix. And if you just like to schedule a call to chat with me and strategize about your career, go ahead and schedule a free call with me. The links for both are in the pinned comment and description below. See you in the next one, hackers. Bye.